Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Kingfish Simple. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a bunch of different ways that you guys can make your fry grow a little bit faster in your aquariums. Now this is going to be a list of different tips that you can pretty much use for every single kind of fish. I breed a whole different variety of kinds of fish. I breed live bearers, egg scatterers, dwarf cichlids, plecos, literally like a whole bunch of things. And I've tried and tested a bunch of these things and they work really, really well. So if you guys want to know everything, make sure you stay around to the end of the video. And if you guys are new to this channel, I make heaps of aquarium related information videos as well as little entertaining ones as well. So if you guys are into that stuff, please consider subscribing, and without any further ado, let's get started. So you guys might find this list a little bit hypocritical because I don't really implement all of these strategies, but I've definitely used them all in the past and I know that they work. Now, the reason I don't do that is because I just don't have the physical space to be doing all of this stuff, and I don't have the means to want to do it anyway because I don't breed to make a living or any of this stuff. But the first tip is going to be, of course, separating the fry from the parents. So when you get fry, like you might have some guppies in your aquarium and you get some babies, the baby's going to be in the aquarium with the adults. I don't know if you guys have bred them and then separated them or whatever. But if the babies are in the same aquarium as the adults, first of all, they're going to get hunted down and probably eaten by the adults unless there's some kind of coverage in the aquarium. But even if there isn't any coverage, they still will not grow the same rate. Now the reason for this is because there's going to be less food in the aquarium and there's also going to be a little bit more waste produced. I don't know really how your aquarium, because everyone's aquarium is a little bit different, so I don't know the environment and the exact specifics of your aquarium. But this is definitely true that they get less food and it's harder to feed small fry foods, and you also don't really get to feed them as often. So that's the first thing. You want to get your fry out of that aquarium and into a separate body of water. Now whether you want to do the body of water in a little breeder box or if you want to do it in another tank, it's up to you. But this brings me to my second thing, and my second tip is to not put them in breeder boxes. Now I keep actually most of my fry in breeder boxes, and that's just because I'm trying to breed so many different types of styles and different types of fish that I need all the aquarium space I can get. So I use these breeder boxes. You can get them on my website, and I use them just because it lets me kind of extend how much an aquarium can keep. And so I keep my fry in breeder boxes, but by doing this, you are actually limiting the speed that they grow. So the reason for this is because fry need quite a big space to grow and to develop, and it's easier to keep a consistent water body if the water body is large, so you don't have to do as many water changes and all this kind of stuff. But because of this consistency and because there's heaps more size and places for them to swim, they develop and they grow heaps quicker in bigger bodies of water. So not too big, because what can happen sometimes is if you have too big a body of water, they can't find their food and they actually die. So you kind of want a tank from about 10 gallons, like 5 gallons, 10 gallons. I wouldn't go over 20 just because that's a really, really big aquarium, so you wouldn't want to keep anything except for juveniles in that to try and really boost that growth. But that first couple of weeks, if you guys can get them into a decent size, especially if you've got a large amount of fry, you'll do yourself wonders. So that's my second piece of advice. Okay, so I'm just editing this video right now and I really forgot an important tip. And I was just gonna quickly record this and add it in there, but that's to feed really nutritious food. I don't know how I forgot this, but nutritious food is really, really key. So this is technically gonna be a 6 tips video, even though I'm just gonna keep it as 5, but if you feed your fish really nutritious food, it'll help them so much, it's not even funny. So what I mean by nutritious food is obviously the best quality kind of food that you can buy commercially, like flakes and all those, like Ikari First Bites are really good. But nutrition wise, the best food to feed is baby brine shrimp and Daphnia and all kinds of live foods. Now if you can't do that, it's okay to opt to frozen live foods, but for some reason the babies don't really go after it the same way that they do with the live foods. So just quickly thought I'd add that in there, but enjoy watching the rest of the video. Now the third piece of advice is to do frequent water changes. So the ideal thing is to do a water change every day of about like 15 to 20%. Now I know that's completely unrealistic for a lot of you guys because you guys are just looking to make sure that your fry are big before you can like put them back into community aquarium or whatever. So you can do like, if you can do 2 water changes a week, that's perfect. 1 water change will be alright, but if you want to get that real good growth, as many water changes as possible is perfect. Now you don't want to change the water like an insane amount because otherwise you'll collapse the aquarium and you'll have a bunch of problems with like the consistency of the water in your aquarium, so you don't really want to do that. You kind of just want to make sure that there's no ammonia or nitrates in there because those are definitely growth inhibitors and they'll stop the growth of your fish and slow it down if there's too much of that stuff in the water. So that's produced by waste and dead fry. So you will get a couple dead fry and they'll create the most waste. So it's important that you get them out too and just keep that water clean. So that's my third tip, is just to keep the water clean and to do frequent water changes as much as you can. Now the fourth tip is something that I already do it, is to feed regularly. So try and feed, this is gonna be another thing that's just crazy and probably unrealistic for you guys, but it's 5 times a day, and you wanna do smaller amounts instead of huge big amounts at once, because if there's smaller amounts more frequently, it's better for their digestive systems. But also if you feed one really big amount, they're not going to be able to fit all of that in there, and it's all going to fall to the bottom and create more waste and dirty up your water. The rule is for me like 5 times a day, and I do a lot of my work from home and stuff like that, so it's really easy. But for you people that don't do your work at home, what I do recommend is at least 3 or 4 times a day. Like twice a day they'll be alright, they're not going to grow quick and you're not going to get them to grow fast. But if you can feed them once when you first wake up, once before you go to work, once when you come back, and once after dinner or whatever, right before you go to bed, you get your 4 times, they fall asleep, and you get the same cycle the next day. And that's the easiest way to do it. It's easy to remember that because it's just before certain events that you're about to do. So that's the 4th piece of advice, is to feed regularly. This video is already getting a little bit better than the one I made about a year ago. That got a lot of views and you guys really enjoyed that. This video has got heaps more information, so I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this right now. But my 5th tip is to separate your fry into different groups of sizes. So what can happen in, like, this happens every time you get a new batch of fry, but you'll have, in the group of fry, you'll have some really quick growers and you'll have some really slow growers. Now what happens is, the reason the quick growers go quick is because they're able to access more food, so they get bigger and bigger and bigger. But what happens by doing that is they're taking a lot of food that the smaller guys aren't getting. And it's important that if you guys have the means to do it, if you can separate the fry into different sizes and try and keep them all together in the stages of growth that they're in, it makes it a lot easier for all your fry to grow quick and as quick as possible, because they're not going to compete for food as much. So basically, I'm trying to really get this into your heads, but the premise of this video is just to make sure that your fry, like, you're trying to get your fry onto this perfectly clean conveyor belt where they're just kind of sitting there and they're just eating food, and that's it all day in really clean water. And that's going to really get the growth going. So by doing everything that I've just explained, you're going to get this going instantly, and they're going to be growing heaps quicker because they're not going to compete for food, they're not going to have to swim as much, all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it. I can't really think of many other things I can say to try and help you guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have learned something, and I hope you guys get your fry way bigger and way growing much faster now that you've watched this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.